Yo, what's up, everyone? So, I'm going to show you how to create stencils using the iPad Pro and the Apple Pencil. Alright, so if you're not using the iPad for stencils, which I figure if you're watching this video, if you're not using it yet, I highly suggest you go and get one. It's a little pricey, but it's definitely worth investing in because if you need to change your design, you can do so super fast compared to like if you had to hand draw while your client's there. Just wasting a lot of time, and you'll definitely be more efficient. And when it comes to creating your stencil, all right. So the app I recommend you get is Procreate. You want to, go in the search bar, type in Procreate. It shows up. I think it's $20 now, $20 to get the app. Before it was like $6, but that was like 4 years ago. Anyways, once you purchase it, want to open it up, it's gonna take you here, which is your library of all your canvases. They automatically save. They don't delete unless you do by just sliding to the left on it and clicking delete. I always keep my stuff because you never know when you'll need, something. So I tend to keep every little thing. Anyways, by clicking this plus sign here, this is where you want to create your canvas. By clicking this plus sign, you'll go to the dimensions of the canvas. We do inches wherever you're at. If you use centimeters, pixels, millimeters, whatever, you could do that. I recommend you print or trace on the size of paper you'll be printing on. I use a US letter size, so we'll do that. It's in inches. The width is 8.5. The height is 11, I believe. The DPI minimum 300. It's already there. And hit create. You'll get this blank canvas, which is what you want. So I have it already set up in a different canvas, so let's go back there. All right, so once you've created your canvas, it's gonna look something like this. You want to go up here to this wrench tool. You want to click this add, insert photo, and then select your reference photo. It's gonna show up just like this. It's gonna pop right on your canvas. You'll have this border around it, which allows you to resize and move your reference photo however you need it to be. And once you're done, you want to just deselect this arrow and then drops it in. Okay. Once your reference photo is to the desired size, you want to go to this here, which is your layers, the two squares on top of each other. These are your layers. So you want to create your stencil in a whole separate layer above your reference layer. Try to avoid stenciling in the reference layer, because if you finish stenciling, you're all done, and you see that nothing else needs to be, traced, and you go to deselect your reference layer to print off your stencil, and you realize you can't because you've done it in the reference layer and it's all one piece now, you're gonna hate yourself. So make sure the layer above the reference photo is selected and in blue when you're tracing. That's a critical point, and that's all you need to make sure you're aware at all times. Okay. Here is your brushes. This is the library. You can import. If you buy some, you can import all types of different brushes. I have Japanese, so there's like cherry blossoms. What else? Skulls. I don't know. I never mess with those. I go to inking. And my preferred brush is the dry ink. So you want to click that. You can double click it in the streamline. If you want to have a sturdier outline, bump that thing all the way up. If you want a more free flowing and you want to see every little, imperfection, turn it down. But I usually have it up because it kind of helps me keep me steady, and I can create my stencil a lot faster without having to be super steady. Okay, so you want to make sure you're above your reference layer and a whole new layer. So this here is the brush size. You can go all the way up, all the way down. I kind of like to be around the 7, 8 mark because it's a big enough size for me to see as a stencil on the skin, but not too big that it starts to bleed everywhere, if you know what I mean. Okay, so I like to, if your reference photo isn't already black and gray, I recommend you turn it into black and gray because that's how you're going to be tattooing. So you want to see, there's certain shades within the reference layer. So how to change your reference photo into black and gray is by clicking this wand, hue, saturation, and brightness, layer, and then saturation. You want to turn your saturation all the way down, and it's going to turn your photo into black and gray. Okay, back to that layer. Since the reference it's already black and gray, I tend to trace in red because when I'm in these darker areas, I'm still able to see the red ink compared to the black. If I'm tracing and creating my stencil in black ink, I can end up losing my stencil, and I don't really know where I'm at or where I stopped. So it's kind of best for you to use a brighter color. You can use green, yellow, purple, teal, whatever floats your boat. So I use red. I start to trace. I trace just enough information for me to know when I'm tattooing and when I'm done tattooing that it's a line. It's a dope line. I don't like really grabbing every little fur, every little wrinkle, because then that's when you start to become a hyper-realism tattoo artist. If you want to do that, if that's who you want to be, then great. Then just tattoo every little thing that you see. But I just tattoo just enough. You'll figure out what you like the more you practice and the more you become, used to this technique. So yeah, just grab enough of the, enough of the hair, enough of like the shadowing and whatnot, if you get what I'm saying. Like, just don't get too crazy, because when it comes to seeing the stencil on the skin, sometimes it can be super muddy and it just super overwhelming, and you don't need that, because tattooing as it is, it's already hard. So just grab enough, as enough detail as you need. Since I already stenciled this, I'll fast forward and boom. This is how your stencil will look when it's all complete. You wanna kind of check it out, make sure you haven't missed anything. Looks all good. Once you're finished, you want to go back to these two squares, deselect reference photo, and boom, that is your stencil. This is what you want to print out and create as your stencil. So that's why I told you to make sure your stencil is in a whole different layer, because you can deselect the reference photo. and then all you're left with is the outline. If you do it all in one, if you deselect the reference photo, you'll also deselect the outline. So you want to make sure you do that in 2 layers always. Okay, so when printing this out, I recommend you change this red into black. By doing so, you can make sure you're in that layer. You want to zoom in, grab a color, and go down to black. Then you can grab this circle, and then and then bring it out to the outline. So if you just drop it in the center of the outline, it's just gonna only select a few. So I usually zoom in all the way and drop it in the lightest pixel, which covers the whole thing in black. Sometimes you can drop it out here and you'll be like, oh shoot, what did I do? It's all good, just undo. But make sure you only undo once, because you can start undoing layers and parts of the stencil, and you don't want to do that much. If you need to beef up your outlines, just swipe, duplicate, and just keep doing it and merge it together. If you want merging it, you just pinch the layers that you want together. Boom. Sometimes, if that's not doing the trick, I'll duplicate again. Go up to this arrow tool and click here, which will move that top layer down a little bit, which thickens the outlines, the stencil, see? So now that it's ready, you can merge it, don't really have to. You want to go back to this wrench tool, go to share, PNG, and then find print. Whatever printer you're connected to via Wi-Fi with your iPad will show up here. You click the printer, you click print, and boom, you should have your stencil printed through your printer. I'm sure you should know how to do thermofax and whatnot, but if you don't, I can show you that as well. Just let me know in the comments. Okay, so I like to have the iPad propped up while I'm tattooing instead of printing it out, because when you print out the reference photo, I feel like the ink on the paper kind of makes the dark parts of the lion a little too dark, because then I won't be able to see like some of the light grays. But I mean, I don't do all that, but I just like that to have the iPad, because then I can zoom in certain areas, do it, and just focus on this area instead of, being sidetracked with the rest of the line, if you get what I'm saying. So since that stencil is black, I like to turn it back to red so I can see it better when it comes to looking at it as a reference for my tattoo. So you can turn it back to red, bring the reference photo back up, and then boom. You have your reference to look at as you're tattooing. So yeah, that's pretty much how I do it when it comes to creating my stencil. And yeah, let me know if there's any other videos or questions you need to know about this whole setup, or any tips or tricks or whatever when it comes to this iPad. Let me know in the comments. I'll try my best to answer them all. Thank you, and I appreciate you coming on here and joining my Patreon. Stay blessed.